Shut up! Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. This time I'm joined by the brand new facelifted MG ZS. So as always, I will take you around the car, talk you through the specification and give you my first impressions. Now the new ZS is only available in 2 trim levels, whereas its predecessor was available in 3. You had Explore, Excite and Exclusive. This time around, MG has had a bit of a brainstorm and they've got, no, we're going to drop the Explore because not many people bought it. Therefore, you've got the Excite or the Exclusive, which is what I've got here, the Exclusive. So in regard to pricing, the Excite trim level starts from £15,995, whereas the Exclusive, would normally start from £18,295. However, I've got the 6-speed automatic gearbox, the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine, and this optional dynamic red paintwork. So the car you see in front of you is around £21,500. Now, in case you're wondering, without the optional paint, this would cost you a little under £21,000. So as standard, you get LED lights, 17-inch alloys. You also get the 360-degree camera system as well, which is on the Exclusive but not on the Excite. Of course, you get chrome detailing. Now, you don't get an automatic tailgate, but I'm sure many of you wouldn't expect it because this is, of course, a value for money car. You do get a Volkswagen Automotive Group style flip-up badge though to reveal the boot. The boot remains unchanged from the pre-facelift, but that isn't a bad thing because the boot is very competitive. It offers 448 litres worth of space, but if you need more space, you can, of course, fold down the 60/40 rear seats to give you 1,375 litres. The boot floor is also adjustable. You've got a storage compartment either side, which of course you can't see right now, and you even get a spare wheel, which is pretty handy. One thing I will say though, and I think I may have said this on the pre-facelift, the tailgate, in my opinion, for taller people, needs to go higher because I think when I had the pre-facelift, I banged my head on this, and my wife earlier this week, in fact yesterday, she banged her head on it as well because she's quite tall as well. So yeah, MG, think about the taller people. You get keyless entry as standard. However, there is a caveat with that. If you go for the 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine, then you don't get keyless entry. The trim levels are a little bit peculiar. For example, if this were a 1 litre turbocharged manual car, I would get a panoramic roof, but I've got the automatic, which means I don't get the panoramic roof, which I think is a little bit bizarre. Now, I will show you rear space, of course. As always, the driver's seat has been set for me. I'm 6'2", so as I mentioned a few moments ago, I am a taller chap. But hopefully, as you can see, I've still got quite a lot of space to climb into. So with that in mind, let's do that. I will take you off my mini tripod, so I've got better maneuverability with my camera. There we go. And let's close the door. By the way, the front driver's seat, well, I don't know why I said front driver's seat as opposed to what? The rear driver's seat. But anyway, the driver's seat is electronically adjustable, which is handy, although the steering wheel adjusts for rake but not to reach, but I'll get onto that in a few moments. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. As you can see, I've got a very good amount of knee room and a very good amount of leg room as well. So that is very, very impressive. Headroom is also pretty ample, so if you do happen to be taller than me, you should be fine. I think fitting 3 adults may be a little bit of a squeeze in the rear, but fitting 2 adults, or if you're more concerned about carrying children, that would of course be fine, and there are ISOFIX points. Now, in regard to the practical elements of the rear, the ZS puts on a pretty good show. You don't get a hook either side like you do in many cars, but that's not the end of the world. You do get a door bin, which is big enough for a medium-sized bottle, map pockets, and you also get a little cubby here, as well as 2 USB ports, which is good. It means those in the rear can charge their smartphones or their tablets on the move. You do have a little bit of a transmission tunnel running down the middle, but it isn't too pronounced. And these seats are pretty comfortable. You get leather style seats in the Exclusive. If you go for the Excite, then you get fabric seats. Let me step out, and I can, well, I was going to say jump into the front, not literally jump into the front. Yes, as mentioned, the driver's seat is electronically adjustable. You've got the controls there, so that is quite handy. Right, let's show you the interior, which has been revised. You've also got a new touchscreen, which is 10.1 inches. In fact, I would turn the car on, but I've actually got a fellow YouTuber and very good friend of the channel, Pocket Rockets, with me today, and he's got the key, so bear with me. Oh, Christopher, I need the key. So whilst I'm waiting for him, I will show you the interior. Now, the last time I had the MG ZS, I moaned about this faux carbon fibre trim, which was around the touchscreen. But in this model, the facelift, thank you, dear boy. I would say it's a bit more classy. The quality looks better, and although normally I'm not a big fan of faux carbon fibre, I think this execution is actually pretty good. You do get a leather steering wheel, and it doesn't feel the greatest quality. I know, guys, this is a cheap car, so yeah, this is more of an observation as opposed to an outright criticism. But yeah, the steering wheel does feel a bit firm. It does feel a little bit low in the quality, if I'm going to be honest, but that is merely my opinion. Anyway, I've got the key now. The key is actually quite snazzy. There we go. Bit of black and red, which is car obsession colours, of course. Oh, by the way, if you want to check out this t-shirt or others, you can have a look at controlandshift.com. There we are. That's a nice plug, nice little segue. So yes, anyway, let's turn on the ignition. There we go. So on the Exclusive, as standard, you get this digital display, which is actually pretty good. I like the display, and what I quite enjoy about it is, see, you've got these little, not ripples, but you've got these little segments. They actually increase. So I've actually turned the engine on. You'll see that these little sectors, they rise. So if I were to rev the car a bit, there we go. I think it's pretty cool. And as your speed increases, the same goes on the miles per hour. Now, that brings me on to a nice point. One thing I do find it annoying about this car is, let's say, so I'm going to, before YouTube tell me off, so let's say I put the volume to 1, so it's nice and quiet. If I turn the engine off, and then turn it back on again, it's loud again. That really, I know this is a really picky thing, but that does really annoy me, because most of the time the music is a bit too loud. And yeah, MG, what are you thinking? I'm not deaf. Anyway, that kind of old man complaint out the way. The touchscreen is vivid. The display is actually quite crisp. So in regard to the design, I haven't got any complaints. It isn't the fastest or the slickest to use. As you can see, it's quite a slow system. So if I were to go home, let's go to navigation. It's quite a slow system. I'm just going to pretend I'm heading home. Actually, I don't even need to. You can see how slow this system can be. So I'm not going to bother with that, because it's going to take up too much time in this video. But yeah, the system is, for what it is, for the kind of car this is and the price point, the touchscreen is just about good enough, but it could do with being faster. As I mentioned, you've got the 360-degree camera, which looks quite similar to Nissan's a round view monitor. I think Nissan call it their marketing term for it. That's pretty good. The quality, the actual clarity is pretty poor. However, A, it's better than nothing, and B, it gives you enough vision to navigate your surroundings. So yeah, although the quality isn't high, it's enough for what it needs to be. So pop it back in the park. 6-speed automatic. You can have a 6-speed manual for the 1 litre petrol engine in the Exclusive, but if you have the 1 litre petrol in the Excite, then you can only have the automatic. I do quite like the MG badge, which is embossed on the gear selector. That's quite handy. I like that. Yes, anyway, back to what I was talking about earlier. The steering wheel, quite annoyingly, specifically for me, adjusts for rake but not reach, so it's not telescopic, and I do find that a little bit annoying. Yes, I know this is a cheap car, but it does mean getting a comfortable ergonomic driving setup may be a little bit tricky. For me in particular, the steering wheel is just a touch too close to my knees. I'd want to bring it towards me a little bit, but hey, it's not the end of the world. I showed you the navigation, so you can actually, whilst I'm here, you can actually change the weight of the steering. Talking about the steering, so it's under, I think it's under comfort. No, it's not. Oh, driving maintenance. I don't understand why it's under driving maintenance, but anyway, you've got urban, normal, or dynamic. So urban is nice and light. Normal is the best of both worlds, and dynamic is heavier. The steering is okay, but I do find it's got a bit of an elastic feeling to it. Sometimes it wants to self-center itself a bit too quickly for my liking. Anyway, back onto the interior. The door bins are of a good size. I can fit in a medium-sized bottle. I believe that is a litre, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a litre. So sorry, guys, I was looking for the label. Got a little bit here. We can maybe pop some chewing gum. A tray here where you can pop your smartphone. You don't get wireless phone charging as standard, but to be honest, I don't think you would expect it on a car of this price. But you do get 2 USB ports and a 12-volt socket. Got two cup holders in the middle, which, interestingly, inside them, they say new MG ZS, just in case you had forgotten which car you had bought. Yeah, I think that's a little bit silly, because this car is new, but at some point it won't be new. So, yeah, I find that a bit interesting. Cup holders aren't the largest, and you will struggle to fit 2 coffee cups in here. I know that because I had that struggle this morning. Got a slot here where you can pop some, some loose change, smaller items, or the key. One of the new features for the ZS is the inclusion of a centre armrest, which is nice. However, I am going to be a bit ungrateful, MG, and say the padding is awful. It's quite a firm unit. It's got as much padding as a prisoner's mattress. So yeah, it's not actually that comfortable to use on a longer trip. And for me, in particular, for my driving setup, it's too low and it's too far back. So yeah, I'd ideally want it more here and higher, but of course then it would be in the space of the cup holders. You do get some storage underneath, as you can see, which is pretty good. And you've got a glove box, which isn't the largest, but it offers a decent amount of space. Got the manual in there, which is quite thick, and Chris's water bottle, because it's too large to fit into the cup holders. You get air conditioning as standard. So you do have you do have some physical controls, but you can also do it via the touchscreen. So if I do that, you can do it via the touchscreen. You've also got the heated seats as well, which comes standard on the Exclusive. Or you've got the buttons down here. If I zoom in a bit, you can see you can change the fan speed or the wind level, as they call it, which is interesting. And of course you can decrease the temperature, but let's turn it off because it's now making too much noise. There we go. Right, so I think I will show you the engine now and talk you through the stats on that. You've got the bonnet release down here. I know the bonnet is open, I've just done it. And you've also got the flap for the, the lever for the petrol filler flap. Let's turn the engine off. So the last time I had the ZS, I had the 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol, which, I know I've left the key behind, I know. Yes, I know. It says, please take your key. Yes. Shut up! Chris is laughing in the background. Yes, the last time I had the ZS, I had the 1.5 litre naturally aspirated petrol, which, to be honest, in this day and age, feels quite prehistoric. It's not a particularly modern engine. But this time, of course, I've got the 1 litre petrol turbocharged. In fact, the turbo is just there. and this is a vast improvement on the 1.5 litre unit, although to be honest that isn't particularly difficult. So in regard to power, this doesn't offer a great deal of power, and it only offers I think it's 160 newton meters of torque. In regards to the horsepower, I believe from memory it's I think it's around 109 horsepower, 110. It's in that region. So I may need to correct myself with the subtitle, because I've had a complete brain fart. So the horsepower figure has just run away. It's just left my mind. But yeah, it's around 110 horsepower. But I will correct myself with the subtitle. In regard to performance, I know you're not going to buy this car for performance, but in case you're interested, this will hit 62 miles per hour in a rather leisurely 12.1 seconds, and the top speed from memory is 112 miles per hour. But let's face it, a car like this, the top speed is almost irrelevant anyway. What you're more concerned about will of course be the fuel economy. So this isn't the most frugal engine, even though it is a 1 litre petrol. On a combined run, MG states that this will offer up to 39 mpg, which isn't really anything amazing or groundbreaking if you ask me. In regards to CO2 emissions, again, that isn't overly respectable, because this emits 163 grams per kilometre, and I think for a 1 litre petrol, that is, yeah, I'm not going to say scandalous, but it's not particularly great. Now, in regard to insurance groups, from memory, if you go for the 1.5 litre petrol, it's insurance group 10, insurance group 11, and the 1 litre petrol is insurance group 10. In regard to finance, if you're looking to finance this car, you can get this, you can get the Excite model for around £200 a month on a 48-month deal with no deposit and 0% APR. So let's face it, the majority of cars nowadays are bought on finance, and this will represent good value. So just give you one last look at the car before I conclude today's video. By the way, if you've got any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to drop me a question in the comment section, or you can DM me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at Car Obsession UK. So make sure you follow me if you don't already. I will just quickly touch upon the styling before I kind of sign out. I think it's a good enough looking car, but I think the styling is quite generic. I wouldn't say it's got a distinct look to it. It's almost as if MG has looked at the rest of the SUV cars on the market, gone, okay, we like what they're doing, we'll do something similar. I don't think it's particularly unique in its design, but many people will argue that all modern cars look the same anyway. But hey, as always, looks, design and styling will always be subjective. But yeah, it's not an offensive looking car. It just looks a bit generic, and I don't know if it's me, but these daytime running lights, they look quite Nissan to me. But hey, it's not really a massive issue. Anyway, time for me to sign out, guys. I do really hope you have enjoyed this video or found it useful. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.